because it's habit forming.
But I've heard this is the hardest addiction to quit.
It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I'm just a little bored. He said, well, why have you started giving? I said, I'm not sure what you're talking about. We spent $13,500,000 a year taking care of 11,000 animals a year. I'd like to become known as the person that the dog thinks I am. My dog thinks I'm pretty special. You also know that there's a win and loss, and there's time to act differently and play your hardest every minute.
Eva, we're rolling.
Hello, inquisitive people. You're watching the show What the Health Are You Talking About? And I'm your host, Eva Motion. If you ask what affects our longevity, probably you will answer a proper nutrition and active lifestyle. And you know what? You're absolutely right. But there is more. Giving, caring, and positive attitude can not only fulfill your life with beauty and meaning, but also give you a lot of energy and resources to live a longer and a happier life. My guest is a young man in his 80s. He looks great. He is fit, healthy, and enormously passionate about life. His secret is pure love for people, animals, and life. A big heart is a strong heart is the topic for today's show. Bob Fidler is my amazing guest today. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Eva. So nice to be here.
So nice to have you here. You look great, and I'm amazed at your physique. What do you do to maintain your well-being?
I exercise every day. I get a lot of sleep. I walk my dog regularly. I eat good food, and I just love life. And it helps to be around the Pasadena Humane Society.
How much attention do you pay to nutrition?
Well, I have 3 meals a day that I pay attention to nutrition. I do, and I eat regularly, and
that's a good thing.
With lots of vegetables and green foods and fruits. And I don't drink, and I don't smoke.
That's awesome. And what kind of activities do you do? Indoor, outdoor?
I play a lot of golf. I love to fish. I ride my bicycle. And I work out at Equinox. And
oh my God, you are busy with your activities.
I've been retired for a long time from ARCO, 23 years. And I've lived this kind of lifestyle since I've retired and feeling terrific.
What is your favorite activity?
Walking my dog, golf, riding my bicycle, and I work at the Humane Society on different projects. We have events where we raise money for the animals, and I've started a few of those over the last 20 years. The Wiggle Waggle Walk is a walk around the Rose Bowl, where we raise money for our 11,000 animals per year that we take
11,000
per year.
It's a huge number.
And we've been doing it for 20 years. So we've helped there 200,000 animals. And in the meantime, we've raised $7 million going toward the care for those animals.
That's amazing. And why are you so fond for animals?
Well, I started a long time ago. 70 years ago, I was lucky enough to find my own adopted pet. And when I worked for veterinarians in the summertime. And when I've always had animals at home, dogs. And when I retired, I worked with the Humane Society on visitations for children's homes, hospitals, orphanages. And now we have 100 people going to different homes, convalescent homes, retirement villages, taking animals in there because it's very well recorded that animals allow people to become much calmer. They have them in airports now. They calm people down.
Oh, wow.
That's a known fact, and we have people that go to these homes with their animals. We have another project that we take to libraries where we call it Barks and Books, where we have young adults, 10 to 12, 12 to 14 age, and they speak to the animals. They stand in front of a room at a podium, and they speak to the animals, and nobody laughs. The animals just cock their head like they have a little question. But it allows the young adults to speak confidently when looking into a group of people or to a camera or a mirror. And it helps in their diction and certainly their confidence.
But you know what, you cover a lot of things, kids, people, seniors. Like, why did it come from, like, this caring and giving personality?
Well, as a young man, I was bored one day and I asked my father, I said, I'm just a little bored. He said, well, why have you started giving? I said, I don't even know, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So he said, I'd suggest you get on your bicycle and go home to home and pick up games and books and radios, magazines, and take it to the Veterans Hospital and just see what happens. So I went to about 10 homes and filled my basket with books and games and radios and went to the Veterans Hospital, and they said, you can take those into the rooms of the veterans that are here being cared for. And I think at an age 8,
Oh, you started young.
I was fortunate to find out what giving really meant.
At 8.
Because it doesn't come naturally unless someone suggests it to you. Now I think they're doing it in the schools. They're doing it in all kinds of programs, because leaders in this country, and I think parents should know that teaching a child the value of giving is going to learn to allow that child to grow and nurture in a much more responsible way.
Absolutely, and you're such a great example for that.
Thank you.
How many events do you put per year for the dogs?
Well, we have a wonderful walk around the Rose Bowl, as I mentioned. We have the Wiggle Waggle Walk for the Rose Bowl. We have the Dog Legs, Birdies, and Eagles for the golf tournament.
Oh my God.
That's a golf tournament. So all around animals. We have monthly programs where we have open houses, and we also have visitations at some restaurants and bars where people bring their dogs and congregate and just meet each other and find out what their dogs, what their life with pets is all about, what do they need from us. We have a very good development department and a wonderful social group. We have birthday parties for children. We have 1,600 volunteers. And we have a lot of people giving of their hearts to the Pasadena Humane Society.
You are busy not just with your activities, but also with your Humane Society mission.
That's right. Well, the Humane Society is 117 years old, and it's at Raymond and Del Mar. And there's a new facility there that allows, we have 2 hospitals where we do spay and neuters for open public. We have animal care for the public. We have shots, low-cost shots, and some moderate animal care. And then we have another hospital where we take care of the 11,000 animals that we bring in each year.
How do you have time for all of this, being healthy, exercising, and doing this thing? I think you need more than 24 hours.
It's so good for me. I mean, it feels so good while I'm doing it that it comes very, very comfortably.
What do you feel when you give and when you organize these charity events like golf tournaments for raising money for dogs? Like, what do you feel when you achieve your goal?
I'm very gratified that I can help raise money and design and work with the staff over at the Humane Society creating funds to have the money to pay for all the things we do for the animals. We spent $13,500,000 a year taking care of 11,000 animals a year.
But it's not only dogs. It's
No,
also
dogs, cats, birds.
like
We
all
have,
kinds.
we've had some pigs. We have some chickens that occasionally we find. And when it's wildlife, if we have a case where it might be wildlife and there's a wing or a leg where they need the care, we'll take care of that. We're fortunate too, and I'm grateful that we're able to adopt out 98% of all the dogs that we take in, adoptable dogs, and we take care of now. We're adopting out 100% of the cats.
You played sports. How did this influence your mindset?
Well, I think sports, becoming a member of a team is important. And I think sports can make you a better person. First of all, you have a respect of your teammates and the coaches. They're the leaders, and when you start sports at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're meeting a lot of coaches and a lot of team members, and you learn how to work together with people. And you also know that there's a win and loss, and there's time to act differently, and frankly, aggressively, and with respect for the rules. You also are going to take care of yourself because you have respect for your team members, and you have to be in a decent condition to participate.
It's a teamwork, it's self-discipline.
Yes, both those
It's
things.
everything.
Yes. And when there's a win involved, there's a terrific response that can come from everybody's heart. And when there's a loss, we also learn how to work harder to win. Win the next time.
But I know you have this magic board. Could you tell about that?
These are quotes from Vince Lombardi, the great Green Bay Packer and a winner of many championship football teams. And it's called, "What Does It Take to Be Number One?" And it's being a good participant, not only some of the time, but all the time.
All the time.
Have a respect for your team members, believe in God, participate in a gentlemanlike fashion, and play your hardest every minute.
But it was your motto for life, like you live with this.
Well, I think knowing that it's not just some of the time, it's all the time that you're going to behave like this has helped me. And I've had a lot of occasions where I've used the Vince Lombardi motives and motivational films with salespeople and working people when I was with ARCO, the oil company. And because it is a requirement in life, not only in your playtime and your relaxation time, but in your work time, in your lifetime. So it doesn't change from day to day. If you're going to play golf, you still want to play by the rules. And you like to have respect for the club and for your fellow participants and also your opponents. You want to win.
For sure. There's only one place to be the number one. Yeah,
that's first place.
Yeah, that's true. And I know you're a very appreciative person and very thankful person. Why do you think it's important to train your soul and to work on your soul?
Well, I think that's doing things right all the time. And I also realize that it's not always possible to be your very best. But I think trying to be your very best all the time is important. And it's gratifying to know that people have the respect when you do. And I think that when you don't, you lose respect for yourself sometimes. And don't forget the mirror you're looking in every day. It's just you in the mirror. I'd like to become known as the person that the dog thinks I am. My dog thinks I'm pretty special. I'd like to be that good.
That's awesome. That's a good motive. But I know that you lead very, very healthy lifestyle right now.
Yes.
But you had the time when you used to smoke. What made you quit, and how did you do that?
Well, I did smoke because I was a cigarette representative when I was in college, and I got paid to distribute cigarettes.
Okay, there's some money involved.
Right, but I enjoyed smoking from about 20 till I was 29. I have two sons. They were in the back seat of my car in Chicago in the wintertime, about 5 below zero, and I lit up a cigarette in a closed car. And they started to cough. And they said, "Dad, you're killing us." Oh. So I stopped right then and there. Mm-hmm. It was difficult because it's habit forming.
But I've heard this is the hardest addiction to quit.
It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Mm-hmm. And instead of having a cigarette, I would go and I'd have apples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
and
how
I'd
did
eat
you do
5 to 6 apples a day. And that became a little tiring. So soon I stopped that, but I was able to stop smoking.
Okay,
and
the apples helped you, see?
All I did was program myself to put something healthy in its place.
Bob, I know it's personal, but we talked about that and you gave me permission to talk about that. You have a close relationships with alcohol. Like, how did you overcome that?
I had a fracture in my back at age 71. And my doctor, who's a very good friend, suggested that I try to stop drinking for 6 months. And I also had an issue with my blood plasma. It wasn't the proper mixture. And he said, let's see what happens after 6 months. Will you try it? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I would be foolish if I wouldn't at least try. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate to have this friendly doctor who showed up at my house the next morning. Mm-hmm. He said, let's take a little walk. There's a few things I want to tell you. And he said, you're going to have the alcohol in your system for 3 to 5 years. So this is not an overnight, you don't quit overnight. You might think of asking for help. So the next morning he came by again and he said, the suggestion I have for you now is not only do you ask for help, but you should change your entire regimen. Your energy level you're going to have to exercise to keep a high energy level. You're going to have to eat the right salads and fish and food, mm-hmm. and not too much, and pray. Mm-hmm. There's where you're asking for help. And if you have any friends that are in a program that works, like AA, mm-hmm. maybe you could attend some of their meetings and just find out what that's all about. Mm-hmm. Because it is a program that allows you to work with other folks that have stopped alcohol. And you can find out from each of them how it works. But it's helping others that also help you.
You help someone and someone helps you.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's amazing how it changes both lives. And you overcome some addictions. You have such a great and big and fun family. You achieved success at everything what you did. So, Bob, what is the next adventure?
What's the next? I think my next adventure would be continuing my lifestyle for many more years, I hope. And I think with the Humane Society, we're going to get younger people involved, because we'd like to have this go on for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. And the building we put together will allow for that. But we have to have young folks learn humane education for animals, having respect for animals, how to train them, how to care for them, how to feed them. And we're starting a program with children from 3 years old to 17 years old. As long as they come in with a parent or guardian,
A lot of things to do.
they can
A lot of
become
things
they
to
can
do.
become volunteers for the Pasadena Humane Society. We put out 175,000 little booklets into the schools just to tell them how to do it.
Pick one. Bicycle or walking?
Bicycling,
Bicycling or swimming?
swimming,
Newspaper or TV news?
newspaper,
Street smart or book smart?
both,
The ocean or the mountains?
both.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing story.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Personally, I learned a lot today, and I hope I'm not the only one who saw how positive and caring attitude, unstoppable life passion, and love for animals could guide you through an unpredictable life and make you feel happy and healthy, as well as living a longer and more meaningful life. Remember, a big heart is a strong heart. I'm Eva Motion. That was the show, What the Health Are You Talking About? Be healthy, be appreciative, and go forward.